Hey, welcome back to episode 10 of Bid Left Nut. I'm Stace Casaria, otherwise known as Stace Ghost, with my friend and co-host Johnny Miata.
Hi,
Wow.
Stace.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I'm
I am
excited.
too.
We have a good show. You know what we're going to talk about? You know, but let's just pretend you don't know. Do you know what we're going to talk about?
I have no idea. What are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about sports cars as a genre of automobile, and specifically what they are, what they're not, where they came from, where they're going, what they're worth, what they're not worth. Do you like this idea?
I love sports cars. I am excited to talk about this and learn something and maybe share some knowledge. I don't know.
Excellent. You'll definitely share knowledge. But I want to first mention why we're doing sports cars. Not only are sports cars important, but do you remember how our friendship started so many years ago? It was bonding over.
You and I both enjoyed sports cars at a time where most of the people that we knew liked muscle cars or really anything but sports cars. But you and I saw that coolness that was British roadsters, I guess, is probably the best way to say it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I had a Shipbox Triumph. John had a Shipbox MG. We were the kids in high school who drove the odd cars and listened to the Smiths. So that was
That,
us.
that's a perfect explanation. Like, should be on my tombstone. Perfect.
Right. So, I mean, we probably could have appreciated Iron Maiden, but we weren't necessarily listening to Iron Maiden. We appreciated Camaros. We weren't driving Camaros, but we knew people and appreciated people who were doing those things. But sports cars were what connected us. But so that's what we're going to talk about today. It'd be really great if we can just get, John, from you just a basic definition of what you think a sports car is. Because I think we can all interpret it in a different way. But if I were to say to you, "Hey, your life depends on it," and
Oh,
this man with the gun is going to hurt you if you don't give us a definition of a sports car, what would you say?
gosh, that seems very important, and I'd probably be sweating more than I already am. I guess what I would say is the traditional definition of a sports car, which is a two-seat convertible with the engine in the front and a manual transmission, lightweight, not a lot of creature comforts. That's historically what sports cars have been and have been to me. Um, I think in the modern age, we can probably broaden that. I suspect we're going to talk about that a little bit today,
You're
but
right.
I don't know. How's Bob with the gun? Is he happy with my
Yeah, he's
answer?
okay. He's going to put the gun down for now.
Okay.
And that was awful, an awful thing for me to say to you. But one other thing that I think is necessary for a sports car is the idea of finesse. The idea that the car is more concerned with going around corners than lighting up the tires. And there's nothing wrong with lighting up tires because you and I both know that squealing tires are happy tires.
Absolutely.
But to me, in my mind, finesse is an absolute part of the definition of sports car. Before we jump into that, though, we're going to wind it way back to the Wayback Machine, and we're going to talk about where sports cars came from. And you can't think of cars existing without there having been sports cars. So from the moment somebody created a car, they said, "Hey, how can I make this thing faster? How can I make this thing more fun?" And cars existed a little bit before 1900, but this was one of the first cars that was built specifically as a quote race car, a car to have like some focus on performance or something other than just transportation. Do you know what this was called?
The Renswire?
Absolutely, it was. You know what that means in German?
Uh, Race wire?
The double. It's. I don't speak German either.
Okay.
But it's called. It means double racer. So
Oh,
I'm guessing it's because it has two seats. And then we start to see the genesis of this idea of a car, not just made for transportation or to haul stuff. It's to take you and a companion somewhere and have a good time. Not to have a good time when you get there. You could, but to have a good time while you're getting there.
the journey is part of the. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed on this picture, um, right off the bat, is the driver really has a commanding view, and is really sending a message to the passenger.
Yeah.
I'm in control. You just sit down there, Timmy. You're fine.
Yeah. You just hold on. Hold on to your teeth.
And do not, whatever you do, lower your left hand.
That's funny. Right into the gear works. So this is about where sports cars start. Shortly thereafter, 1907, right here in the colonies, there was a company called the American Motor Car Company, not the AMC that we know today, because these people went out of business by like 1915 or something. But they were the first car company to think of this idea of, oh wait, we have a frame, we have a box on top of the frame. Let's see if we can lower the car. And like you said, this car is pretty tall. And old cars were tall. I mean, they were coming from this idea of a carriage, right? So carriages were, I don't know, 120 feet tall. So this didn't seem odd to them.
Yeah, I guess it's funny if we think about it for a moment. How the turns have tabled. We're
right.
kind of back to really tall vehicles, right? Low slung vehicles are definitely out of vogue right now, as everybody and their mother wants an SUV.
Yeah.
It's
true.
But the low slung car still looks really good to me.
Yeah. Well, this was the first car that they actually built the body to drop below the frame rails. So the way cars are, well, before they were unibody or monocoque, cars, the body sort of sat a little bit below the frame, whereas this monstrosity, the car is the chassis is a box on top of the frame.
Yep.
And that's where low slung came from. And John says low slung a lot. So the next car I want to talk about is considered the first sports car. It's the Vauxhall 25 Prince Henry Sports Torpedo. And this car was made specifically for competition in 1914. And this is considered by people, by the internet, by historians, or George W. Bush, somebody, the first sports car. And so it could be, right? So this is a car that was a production car that went out to people who had sporting endeavors. So
is it fair to say that this was the first car to be marketed as a sports car? Like, hey, we're making this for competition. Like, that's why it exists.
Yeah, actually, the history behind this Vauxhall 25 Prince Henry Sports Torpedo, the Prince Henry was a race. Prince Henry was the brother of Kaiser Wilhelm or something like that, and there was a race. I think that Henry started, and Vauxhall entered this car, and it did really well. And so then people wanted to have the Prince Henry car, the car that did really well in the Prince Henry race. So Vauxhall started making a road-going version of this. So, I mean, of the race car. So yeah.
So they were the original race on Sunday, sell cars on Monday.
Yeah, I guess so. And here we think of Vauxhall as just like an odd brand that Jeremy Clarkson shits on, but they were the...
And perhaps they still are, but they have a lot more history than that. Okay.
Right.
The Sports Torpedo. If there was a car today named the Sports Torpedo, I'd consider it.
I know you would. Here's a review of that car from somewhere in the 50s. Somebody said, "This car has truly amazing road holding. It is high and narrow, yet it passes through roundabouts almost as if there were none there," which incidentally is how most Americans navigate roundabouts, as if they weren't even there. So, but the interesting thing here, John, is that somebody didn't call out the prodigious power of this vehicle. They said, hey, it handles well. That's sports car to me.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you'll go with it. Good. What's next here? In this car, since we talk about here on Bid Left Nut, we talk about auctions and car values. Just wanted to mention that in 2016, almost 100 years after this thing was born, it sold at Bonhams for close to $700,000, which apparently is a good deal for some people. Not for me. If I had that money, I would not buy this because I just don't like cars of this vintage. What about you?
Well, yeah, we talk about, I know in previous episodes we've talked about the population continuing to age and how nostalgia is different for every generation. So, being a kid in the 70s and 80s, I tend to like that period of time.
Yeah.
So the problem here is the audience for 1914, they're super dead. And
Mhm.
so it's fascinating to me that somebody paid $675,000, and that's almost 10 years ago, for this car. Um, they're definitely into another time period, which I'm here for. I think that's amazing.
The
But
interesting thing, John, is that this was not like a one-off. I mean, this was a car that I don't know how many were produced, and I don't know how many were left, like in 2016 when this car was sold. But this wasn't like they bought like the race-winning Vauxhall. They
right,
bought a Vauxhall. So yeah, it's a lot of money.
I got to imagine that that's the most expensive Vauxhall that ever sold.
Hmm. By multiples.
I would think so. I would think
Yeah.
so. That's interesting. I never knew that that existed, and
Well,
here
here we
we
go.
are.
That's what we're here for, is education and stuff like that. So, Jason Camisa, I think we're both fans of his. He said once that the true measure of a sports car is not how many horsepower it has, but how many pounds it does not weigh. And so that is another factor of sports car. How much did your MG weigh? Just a rough guess.
Gosh, my MG was under 2,000 pounds.
And what did Paul Esposito's Z28 weigh?
I mean, he was probably pushing 3,800 pounds, I'm going to guess.
That's right. You can do a lot of magic with a light car and not a lot of power. You're definitely going to lose ground on the straights, but when it comes to a corner, all the horsepower in the world, its potency is diminished when you've got a really light car, even if it's a shitbox MG being driven by shitbox John.
I mean, traditionally, I think that's true, all of it, even the last part. But without getting ahead of ourselves, one of the things when you and I were talking about what are we going to talk about this week, and we decided on sports cars, the line has blurred so much in the modern era.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm happy about it or sad about it, because there is something really engaging about driving a lightweight car that's connected to the road, that you have to have momentum to go fast. You have to keep that speed up. And the road holding and handling of the car is a huge part of its charm. And in the modern era, even a Volkswagen GTI is 250 horsepower.
Hmm.
Maybe that's just the R. I don't remember. But um, I guess one of the things that we're going to explore is, have we lost something
Yeah.
when we're talking about cars that can do absolutely everything?
Correct. So physics and engineering, no, excuse me, engineering has almost caught up to physics, right? Engineering and technology have given us the ability to have almost everything or everything, but it really depends on how we're defining everything. So we're going to dive into this discussion of what's a sports car and what's not a sports car, and there's going to be some questionable calls made on our part. But the important thing is, at the end of the day, you, the viewer, the car owner, the car enthusiast, gets to decide what's a sports car. Just don't tell me that your first gen Mustang is more a sports car than a Miata. We're going to talk about that in a second, but it's something I remember this ad from, I think it was the early 90s or maybe it was the late 80s. So I work in advertising. So my whole life I've been attuned to ads. I'm all about the advertising. But I remember this ad that there's a difference between a sporty car and a sports car. And if you'll notice, John, can you tell us what the difference is?
Well, I can tell you traditionally what the difference is, but the cones on the top in
Right.
this particular ad are all askew,
Correct.
whereas the cones in the bottom of the ad have not been touched. So obviously the handling, I think what this ad is trying to illustrate is a sports car, uh, will be the car at the bottom that doesn't touch the cones. A sporty car will knock cones, pedestrians, anything else if it's being driven spiritedly.
Right. Another ad, it eats up the road but chews with its mouth closed. And this goes to finesse that we talked about earlier. It's not just about being a monster performer, but doing it without sweating. And I have a question for you, John.
Yes, I'm ready.
Hatchback or two-door?
I was going to ask if I could tell a little story at this
Please
point.
do. We're going to tell a little story.
So I sold both of these cars new. I
When?
worked for a Nissan dealer. Holy cow, I'm big.
No.
I worked for a Nissan dealer in the early 90s. And so I remember the district manager showing up in the new body style 240SX, which was the second car, the second advertisement. And people were really underwhelmed. And they were underwhelmed because the engine in that car was a derivative of the Nissan hardbody that you used to own.
I knew you were going to get there.
It was a 4-cylinder, and it wasn't particularly fast, but it was a very modern car otherwise. It handled great, build quality was amazing. But I remember the district manager showing up to unveil the new 240 to us.
Was his name Gary? Because I can imagine like a district manager at the Nissan dealership. His name Gary or something like that.
It's funny you say that. The district manager was not named Gary. His name was Michael, but the sales manager was definitely named Gary at Mario Daddario Nissan. So there you go. Free plug to Mario Daddario, at least his dealer, which I think still exists. Anyway, you asked me what I prefer. And I've got to say that second gen, and I think it's an S14. I am not a Nissan guy, but those cars, when they're stock and put together and not beaten to within an inch of their lives, they're super rare now. But they're also really, really great cars to drive and great cars to live with. So big fan. I would have to go with the second gen as opposed to the S13.
Okay. What engine did the S13? What was that? Was that a 2-liter?
It was also a 4-cylinder, and for all I know, it could have been the same one. And maybe people were just disappointed that they didn't do anything different. And of course, Japan had different variations and versions. Again, I'm not a drift guy. I appreciate the art form that drifting is, but it's definitely like sort of a blind spot in my education.
Sure.
But I also remember selling them new, which was kind of awesome.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are these both sports cars?
Woo! So this is a loaded question, and you're gonna get a lot of. All right. So here's the deal, right? Miata's always a sports car, no doubt about it. Miata is always the answer. I rented a Mustang. I don't know if it was a GT, but it was a Mustang convertible. It had the EcoBoost in it, so it had the Turbo 4, and it was a really engaging ride. It handled really well. I had it for a week in California, and it's harder for me to say no. Of course, the Mustang's not a sports car because it was relatively lightweight. It handled really well. It was super fun to drive, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. So
when was this?
This was not that long ago. This was probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And
I would say, in my mind, I think you're right. But I think it's somewhat difficult. But I think what's it? The fifth gen Mustang came out in 2015 or 16. I think then it becomes a sports car. I think
I agree with you, but I also think that it's based on how it's optioned out. So if you have a
Good
Coyote
point.
V8 in it, and maybe the Coyote is a bad example because it's actually a lightweight motor, but if you have an engine like a V8 that's heavier, now you're skirting muscle car, pony car over sports car. So it really depends on how these cars are optioned. Depends on, I guess, my opinion based on what options they have.
So that's an interesting point. So we know if we turn back the clock, the original Mustang was built based on the Falcon, and Mustang 2 was based on the Fairmont, and those were not sports cars, and they had no sporting intentions. Does that mean that can Mustang be a sports car if some of the variants of it in present day or whatever in its
I mean,
contemporary state?
yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I think, to say that a Shelby GT350 from the first generation, to say, oh no, sorry, that's not a sports car. Again, the definition that I gave, well, the guy had the gun to my head, and I said, oh, it's got to be 2 seats, it's got to be a convertible, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. That may have been true of the old guard, right? That might have been true back in the day.
Yeah.
But at this point, you just showed me a modern Miata and a modern Mustang. At this point, anything with sporting intentions within reason, I'm here for, right? Like, if we want to call it a sports car, we can call it a sports car, because at least it's not an SUV.
Well, we're gonna play a game in a few minutes where I'm gonna ask you, is it a sports car?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. But first, we're gonna play a game called What Is It?
Ooh.
And I only did 2 this week for you. And they're both sports cars.
Okay.
And we're going to go through these, and hopefully one is not impossible for you to get. And hopefully you're able to.
Just out of curiosity, how many pictures are you giving me?
A bunch.
Okay.
This time I don't really know.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
As long as I have more than one option. Oh, is that a Fiat 1997?
How?
Is it the Barchetta?
No, how did you know that? Oh man.
It's got the headlights, it looks like Acura Integra headlights, but it's a little different because they pop up through the hood. Yeah.
I thought I was really going to stump you on this.
Is it 1997? I know that's part of the production run.
I think it's the 96. It's a Fiat like 20 valve turbo coupe.
What's the name of it though? Like,
I think that's the name of it. I think it's like the 20 valve coupe.
Okay.
Turbo coupe.
Yeah, I know that car. They were never sold here, and I don't think I've ever seen one in real life. So why do I know that? I don't freaking know. Like, I don't know. But yeah. I did not know that Chris Bangle designed it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. Absolutely.
My daughter and I just saw a new BMW all EV car, and I asked her, like, do you like that? And she responded, no, like, strongly no. So I don't know. Chris Bangle made me think of ugly BMWs. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm surprised that you knew this one so quickly. I didn't think that the wheels would have been so iconic.
Yeah, they're weird because they're 4-spoke and directional, which is that might be the only 4-spoke directional wheel that I'm aware of.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, that makes me happy.
6-speed. Okay, next we're going to try and stump you. I doubt it's going to happen though, because you know everything.
Is that a Nissan Pulsar 1987?
How did you know that?
It's got it had the weirdo taillights that look like this. And,
how did you know that so quickly?
The cool thing about it is, oh, do you want a hatchback? Do you want a convertible? Do you want like a wagon? We can give you all 3 in the same car.
How did you know that? I thought we'd get to this point, and I was gonna say, oh, there's a clue in the back seat.
The taillights?
Yeah, the
taillights mimic the speaker grills.
Man, okay, good job. Okay, so this was not much of a. And at this point, I was like, oh, he's gonna get to see the light, and I thought, oh, he might think it's a. What's that? There's a Toyota that the headlight sort of looks like.
Like an MR2 or
is it, or
no? Because it's got they go over. Yeah, the hexagonal grille was kind of interesting. I don't even know if that's super factory. Look, it's got the weird hatch.
Yeah, this is the Sportback. So these were made. I was surprised when I was doing the research on this. I was surprised to see that they were made from 78 to 2000. That's 22 years.
No, I mean, maybe different generations of NX.
Yes, that's what I meant. The
But
Pulsar. The Pulsar was
the
made.
Pulsar, got you.
Yeah, the Pulsar was made for
Yeah,
22 years.
because there's a Pulsar that's got like oval headlights after this one. That was, I think, the next gen after that, and it was another kind of um, polarizing car. This was a polarizing car. I did not like this when it came out. I hated that taillight treatment,
Yeah.
and the different configuration of the hatch, and that was kind of cool. But like, where the hell are you gonna put it? Like, oh, hang on, let me get my other hatch. Like, it's not a. It also had, some of them had T-tops so that it could be almost like a full convertible.
Yeah, this has
But they drove. They didn't drive particularly well, and that back seat doesn't look amazingly comfortable. It looks more like you did something wrong. Like you're in trouble. Go into the back seat of the Pulsar, please.
I don't know. Backseat, it's good enough for second base, I think.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, because you have a Pulsar, the ladies are knocking the door down.
Yeah. Okay. This thing sold for like 10 grand.
I mean, 9,300 miles. It's an automatic, so it's not going to drive well, but you'll get, like, if you're looking for attention,
yeah,
and you like weird taillight treatments, this is the car
Mhm.
for you.
Baby got weird back.
All right. Well, next time I'll go. I'll make it seem like I'm working hard.
I don't mind. I don't mind that you get these so quickly. I mean, I'm just blown away that happens. I mean, anyway. All right. So
You
the
know
next.
how you
Go ahead.
Before we go any further, do you know how people who are like on the spectrum and really good at math,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I've listened to lots of interviews, and they say, oh, like I equate numbers to colors. Like I see colors in my mind, and that's how I come up with. I have something similar with cars, and I don't know why, but like that wasn't even a hesitation. Like, yeah, I knew what the car was. The Fiat, in the case of the Fiat, I didn't know the name of the car, but like, yeah, it's like a 96, 97 Fiat because of those wheels. Of course it is. And it's got the weird headlights, and it's got the circle tail lights. Like all of that it's not conventional thought. There's no thought process there. It's just reaction. Like, yeah, that's what that is.
There's no conventional thought going on inside your brain.
Yeah, that and a quarter gets me a cup of coffee. But anyway, what are we gonna do next?
Instead of jumping to the next game, I want us to talk about auctions.
Yes.
So one of this week's challenges for us was to use the Bidfinite auction game platform to come up with two auctions. I did one and John did one, all based around sports cars. And so for the folks who don't know, Bidfinite is it's fantasy sports meets car auctions, and you come in, you can create auctions, and you can play against your friends. And John created an auction called "I'm on a Low Budget," and
Like
I
the song.
Yes, just like the song. And that was that? Wait, Jay Guile? No. Hold on a second. Ah, shoot.
Well, it's
Joe
gonna get
Walsh.
worse because
Joe
you would
Walsh.
have thought you would have thought that I would know this answer. It's either Jay Giles or it's not George Thorogood.
Anyway,
I audible.
I created an auction called "We Choose the Moon" and Leaded Gas. So I chose sports cars of the '60s. And John, what did you choose?
I chose a mishmash of cars that I felt
That wasn't the assignment. You were supposed to pick.
Hang on.
Okay.
My mishmash of cars are cars that I feel are undervalued, but they're short money. Right? So you chose higher dollar cars, I believe, but certainly cars.
Good cars.
That's a solid lineup, I would say. And there's some big money on the board today.
Mm-hmm.
In stark contrast, I chose, for the type of enthusiast that I am, and I guess I'm either a cheapskate or I'm a low budget guy, but cars that are, I don't know, I feel like they're undervalued. Like, when was the last time you saw a Sonnet or somebody was talking about a Sonnet?
The last time I saw a sonnet, I can't pinpoint the year, but I guarantee you it was rotting away under an oak tree in somebody's front yard.
I have a friend who owns one, and it's like this Kermit green
Mhm.
Sonnet, and it's barely running, but he drives it to car shows often. Um, Other than that one particular anecdote of a person who owns one, I haven't seen one in like a decade. They're I don't know that they're not out there. I know they didn't make a ton of them.
Tell us about sonnets.
So sonnets are cool. This is a sonnet 3, and that indicates that there were 2 others, and indeed there were. There was a prototype, and then there was the sonnet 1, which I believe looks slightly different than this one. It had exposed headlights in the front. But this is the Sonnet 3, and so this is the 3rd iteration of this car. Super lightweight. One of the weird things about it is it has a V4. And anytime I hear somebody say a V4, usually it's indication that they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to cars. But this is genuinely a V4 configuration, 2 cylinders on one side and 2 on the other. It's
How many
made by Ford.
how many strokes does it have? Is it 4-stroke or 2-stroke?
No, it's a 4-stroke. Yeah, it's a conventional
Whoa.
oil in one place, gas in the other. Um,
Thank you.
it's I find these to be very attractive cars. I do believe the body is made of fiberglass. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. So it's extremely lightweight. And it's weird. It's definitely Scandinavian weird. Like that interior is incredible to me.
It is groovy, man.
It is super groovy.
It's like where a Finnish porn star would live.
You would, yeah. I mean, finished in the middle, whatever. It is a really cool interior, full gauges, but it's a 2-seater. It is not a convertible, so that my old guard definition of sports cars doesn't really apply. But I don't think anybody would argue that this is a sports car. This definitely is. But I mean, if you go back to that picture 2 pictures ago, the rear hatch, the window, look at the strut configuration and the fact that it's just a piece of glass that goes on top. There's no frame around the glass. Everything about this car is all about being lightweight. And I think somewhere I wrote recently that it's just like riding a motorcycle, but it has less safety features. You're not really concerned about crash worthiness if you're in this car. And I'm here for it, man. I think it's so cool, so weird, so bizarre. And I'm curious to see what it's going to close at, because I think this auction closes Monday.
Okay.
I have not bid on it yet. I don't know what I'm going to bid on this car. We got 4 days to go.
Fantasy bid. You're not really going to bid on this car. You're going to play the game and do a fantasy bid.
That's certainly what I'm telling my wife. But
Oh,
also, yeah, that's true. I am just sort of shadow bidding, but I'm genuinely curious. What is the car going to sell at?
tell us about this S2000.
So the S2000, in stark contrast to the Sonnet, is a modern car. And if my 4-car event is all about cars that are undervalued, somebody's going to say, hey, wait a minute, S2000s aren't undervalued. Like, that's a car that people know, that they spend on. But when you're looking at a car that isn't like a 10,000 mile barn find, this particular car's got 72,000 miles on it. In my mind, this is the golden age of Honda, right? It's got a high revving 4-cylinder. It's got the sweetest transmission money can buy. Very snick, feels really good. So the fact that it's going to sell for a lot is probably true, but I still think it's super undervalued. We're never going to see another car like this from Honda again.
We say that all the time about lots of cars, don't we?
We do, but I just can't see with safety and emissions. All right, so if Honda comes out with another sports car, terrific. I would love that. But it's probably going to be a hybrid, or it's going to be all EV. I can't see it being a naturally aspirated, high revving four-cylinder. I think those days are over. And maybe I'll be proven wrong, but this car has something that other cars do not have.
What's that? The
It,
Dakota ring?
it's a
Broccoli
normally
in the front?
aspirated, high revving four-cylinder with a great transmission. The driving experience is amazing. There's a focus on lightness. All of those things are great, and I'm sure manufacturers would love to continue to make them. But with safety features and miles per gallon standards, I don't know that we're gonna see something like this again. That the cards are stacked against
Yeah,
enthusiasts
so
like
safety standards, miles per gallon, efficiency, things like that. I think also there's just such a change in what we'll put up with as a society. I mean, me, you, and everybody watching, we're car enthusiasts, so we'll put up with a lot. I think generally, though, I think the standard of livability is very different from 10 years ago, or certainly 20 years ago.
Yeah, people, I mean, the proliferation of SUVs and look, it would be really easy for somebody in my position to be like, SUVs are terrible. And I will say that sometimes, but I also drive an SUV every day, a couple of them, because it fits my family. I live in the Northeast. I get bad weather. I do use four-wheel drive. I'm a skier. I bring kayaks out to the beach. I bring kayaks out to the beach. I use my SUV, I guess, more than most.
Mm-hmm.
But
you use your SUV as an SUV, as the sports part of it,
or the utility. Like, I use the four-wheel drive. In the last 2 years, I've gone through some snowstorms where I was grateful that I was in a big hulking SUV with dedicated snows on it. Because I put myself in that position where we were coming home from skiing and it's crazy, it's a bad storm. And I was glad I had it. Like, if the S2000 was my only car, I wouldn't have been out there that day, is really what it boils down to.
Yeah. I have to say, these are some fantastic details. I love, I don't know why, but I just love old school. Maybe I don't know if it's Japanese, but definitely Honda, like the door lock mechanism, the latches, the door handles. They just have a certain appearance to them, right?
Agreed. The font is a thing for me, and I don't know if it's a thing for everybody, but that font, which was worth noting, my dad bought his first Honda in 1977, and we had Hondas consecutively into the early 2000s. And so the things that exist here exist in just about all of the iterations. You can see the stock, the light stock.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that, the way they show parking lights, the way they show the light on, that off. In the 1977 Civic, the font was the same. And I find a lot of solace in that. It feels really good for some reason. It gets that part of my brain that I'm like, I am familiar. I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah, I haven't driven a Honda in many, many years, but I still remember the feel of you mentioned the turn signal or turning the lights on. I can imagine in my mind exactly what that feels like, and the curvature of this, like how your thumb sits in there. I can. It's been burned in.
It's a pure tactile feel. It's a muscle memory. And I don't know, you don't get that with a button that has no, what did they do to Volkswagens? The type of buttons, the capacitive touch buttons.
Yeah.
You don't have a muscle memory on that. You don't have a feeling of comfort when you're turning on the headlights. If you don't have a capacitive touch, how do you know it's on or off? I sound like an old man yelling at the clouds, but those are the things that endear us to automobiles.
Yeah.
You take
automobiles beyond a car as transportation, because we're in cars for a different reason. Sometimes transportation, but a lot of times for the heart.
For the heart, I like it.
Yeah. You want to talk about what else is on your auction?
Yeah, because I also added two other cars to it, and one of them was the 74 MGB. Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
What I feel, and we might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but for me, the MGB was always the quintessential sports car. And I think that it's been shoved off the podium by the Miata. That if you're not like a insane car enthusiast, and I would probably describe both of us as certainly insane and then car enthusiast after that.
Our prices
Um,
are crazy. Come on down.
yeah, but if you're like a passive car enthusiast and you just want a fun car, it used to be the MGB. That would be the car that you would get. It's not going to be the fastest car, but it's fun and it feels good. And sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't. And then the Miata showed up.
It's never incredibly attractive. I mean, so you don't have to worry about somebody stealing it based on
But it's
that.
very, very British. It's very, very classic. It's got that old world appeal to it. But
Crooked teeth and all.
the the Miata stole the show. And so these cars are not appreciating the way you think they would. And you
No.
can still get a really nice example a super nice example for under 15. You can
Mhm.
get a nice example for under 10. They just never had the trajectory of other British cars. And I think it's because the Miata exists in this world.
Yeah.
So we'll see what this one closes at. I mean, for all I know, it's going to close for $150,000 and render me a big liar. But right now, it's at $3,200 with
Yeah,
3 days to go.
it's not going past like 8,900. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
These-
I think
yeah.
you're right, and we're going to find out.
Actually,
And we're going to compete against one
entering my
another.
bid right now.
Oh
8,900.
goodness. Okay. Oh, I'm not ready for that, but I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about the 300ZX, which I am a huge fan of. I love these cars.
Same.
I absolutely love. I mean, this is not a twin turbo one, but I absolutely love these cars. Go ahead.
So another car that I sold new, right? It was in the Nissan dealer at the same time as the 240 SXs that I sold. And I love these. These are great to drive. You can cover a large amount of miles in them. They're reliable. They are fun. They get a lot of attention and they don't bring a lot of money. And I can't tell you why. I don't really know. I think they've aged well. I think it still looks
Yeah.
good to this day, but they don't bring a lot of money. And the contemporaries of this car would have been, I was thinking about this the other day, the Supra.
Mhm.
Supras are six-figure cars. What else would have been a contemporary? Probably
The 3000 GT toward the end of this car's life.
3000 GT, which in fairness isn't really a high dollar collectible either. Some
Right.
of them, the Spider and some of the lower production ones, but the Z32 300ZX gets no love. And I don't understand. It gets so little love that I would consider owning one because the thing that I like about it is that I can, you and I live about 5.5, 6 hours away. I wouldn't hesitate to get in this and drive it 6 hours north.
Right.
I don't feel the same way about my 944. I mean,
Mhm.
I could try to see you and it may work, but it also may break down in catastrophic
Failure.
fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always loved these. I think they're fabulous cars. So this was the low end of the spectrum. You did I'm on a low budget, and
Yeah, I'm
I'm
excited to see your cars. Tell me about.
yeah. So I'm doing. We choose the moon and leaded gas. So during the '60s, there was this really there's tons of optimism. We were reaching for the stars, literally. We wanted personal freedoms. We wanted to use some of the newfound wealth that we had. And so then you see the car market start to answer some of that with personal cars, right? And some sports cars and sporty cars, and we get muscle cars. We start to get this real, like it's filtering down that this idea of cars can be way more than just transportation. It filters down to everybody. It filters down to moms driving like Chevelle station wagons, right? Or Malibu wagons. I mean, even though we're not calling those sports cars, but my point is that we all start to understand it's like we can have more than just transportation. We can have something that's a lot of fun. And what I chose for these four, like my four cars for the auction, are cars that I think represent the 60s in really different ways. I mean, so we've got the hometown hero, we've got the Chevy Corvette, and I would say first generation of Vette, I would not call it a sports car.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to say second generation, the C2 becomes a sports car. It has independent rear suspension. It has something really advanced called a transverse leaf spring. No, anyway, no, this car starts to handle better than just the Corvette. The original Corvette was gorgeous, and I think when it showed up, it was going to be so popular just because it was a departure from everything else that existed at the time. The shape of the body, like what they did with fiberglass, probably wasn't possible in production techniques with sheet metal. So I mean, it looks like something like it looks like a work of art. And I agree. I think the first gen Vette is a gorgeous car. I think this is honestly, I think this might be a better looking car, but this is certainly begins to approximate sports car. Still, the emphasis here is on burning rubber. But
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, agreed. You're now getting into the horsepower of traditional American performance
Rawr.
that you didn't have in the 1954 Corvette, right? Or 50, 53, 54, the first gen.
Yeah.
So you're getting a closer vehicle to what Americans are looking for in the C2. So yeah, and otherwise I 100% agree with everything you're saying. It's this is a bet. Oh goodness.
My proctologist is pointing
in my
to
line of work. I really need more than this.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the cars that I chose for my auction. Another car that I chose was a 190 SL, which is this one here. Now, cars exist in context of the place, the people, the economies, social unrest, or happiness. This car captures where Germany was in the late 50s and early 60s, country coming out of war, having done some very bad things. But Mercedes as a company always had these sporting intentions, made really fast cars, the Silver Arrows, way ahead of their time. We understand that. This car to me is archetype sports car. It's not super fast. It's not going to win any races. It's a comfortable car that, compared to everything else in Mercedes lineup, was more sports oriented. Now, I would ask you, John, does this fit your definition of sports car if we think about creature comforts?
I think that it's more comfort oriented than sports oriented for its time.
For its time.
I also have a.
But let me ask you.
I'm glad you picked this car. First off, I'm very glad you picked this car because I've always had a hard time with the 190 SL, and here's why. It looks like its bigger brother, the 300 SL, and the 300 SL has been, $1 million car for, I don't know, 20 years now, right? It's an insane amount of money and incredible race success. It was so far ahead of the curve. And so they decided, well, let's capitalize upon that success. They were also very expensive. 300 SLs were crazy expensive when they were new. So as a result, they built the 190 SL, which looked like 90% of a 300 SL, but it had the 50% of the performance or 40% of the performance. It's not particularly fast.
No.
It handles all right, but its emphasis isn't necessarily on handling. But it's a 4-cylinder. It's a car that you would drive and enjoy. But I don't know how it doesn't have a ridiculous amount of sporting intentions.
Let me ask you though. We talked about context before.
Yeah.
You talked about comfort. Could Mercedes have made? Let me find a photo. Could Mercedes have made a car in 1961 that didn't feel like this on the inside? Could they have gone with less comfort? I don't know if they could have, and it still have been a Mercedes. So, because I grappled with that too. I grappled with the idea of comfort. Does it belong on the list? I also said, well, does it handle well? I had to say to myself, compared to other Mercedes, it handles better, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So when you talk about the SL, right? And you talk about this car, and then you talk about the car that came after it. And the Pagoda Roof SL definitely took the Sport Light moniker, the SL, and it is a little more basic than the 190. And they did increase the engine size, right? Put in an inline six in it. And arguably it handles better than the 190. So they did kind of capitalize upon what they started with. If you take the relationship between the 300 and the 190 out of the equation, going from 190 to 230 is a big departure. It is a much more performance focused vehicle, the Pagoda Roof.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
No, you just muted me.
Okay, so you make some very valid points. I'm going to ask you that because
did I just kill your puppy? I didn't mean to. Like I like the 190.
No, because I have a feeling you're gonna like this one as a sports car even less. So the 3700 GTI Sebring Series 2 from Maserati. I called this a sports car. Oh no, he's raising the finger.
You mean the car with Grand Touring in its title? All right, no, listen, I'm here for it. Let me get the popcorn. Hang on, I'll be right back.
No, I called this a sports car because yes, Grand Touring is true, but what if we were to look at? I wanted us to look at the profile of this car. In my mind, it doesn't quite feel like it doesn't appear like a Grand Touring car. Because if I were to say to a stranger, if I were to ask your daughter, who apparently has strong opinions on cars, how many people could fit in this car? Do you think she'd say 4 or 2?
I think she would say 4, mostly because of the back seat.
No. Looking at this picture.
Oh, of that picture? The one with the back window, where the passengers would look out.
All right. I'm on the fence of considering this. See how I'm backing away? I consider this a sporty car. All right. Enough.
I will say.
No, you're going to say no more. We're going to say no more.
It's the sportiest car that's ever sported sportsness.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about Jaguar XKE.
Okay.
And before we get to the Jaguar XKE, I want to talk about something else. We talked about history before. We talked about, wait a second. I have to find that in a second. We talked about where cars came from, right? And if we think about Jaguar, because we're going to talk about an XKE, right? So Jaguar XKE, absolute sports car, pretty big engine, good performance. I'm curious to see what you're going to say about that. I just want to talk about where that car company came from. Originally, do you know what Jaguar was called, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell the people. Do you remember?
Swallow sidecars?
That's right, SS. And eventually, after World War II, they changed the name for some other reason, right? We talked about the bad things that Germany had done. So, but there was a point where Swallow was making, they were rebodying other people's cars, and then there was a point where they decided to make their own cars. And they're making some really nice cars, but then they had an idea. They said, "Hey, we want to make a sports car." In 1934, they make something called the Walmsley Roadster or the Walmsley Special. There were two founders of Jaguar who came from Swallow sidecars, William Walmsley and William Lyons. Everybody knows William Lyons. It was William Walmsley who decided to design this car called the Walmsley Special. And I want to show you guys this car. And I have a special connection to this car. This is the Walmsley Special. This is from the Jaguar website. This is considered the first Jaguar sports car. It was restored by Black Horse Garage. One of these cars exists. This was restored by Black Horse Garage, and I did the research because I worked at Black Horse on this car to find out what the body looked like, because the car was not 100% complete when it came to us. So I have a very special connection to this car. It was owned by one of our longtime clients at Black Horse, and it was shown once at the 2016 Amelia Island Concours event, and that was the owner's intention. He said, "I'm going to show this car once, and then it's going to disappear into my collection. It'll probably never be seen again." That's sort of the way this guy is.
Okay. Wow.
But I wanted to also show something else, which is this. Hold on, everybody. I just messed up my tripod. Hold on. How embarrassing. So I wanted to show. I want to show this. This is a sports car, a history to sports cars. This is a book that's on my shelf. This was on my shelf before I worked at Black Horse Garage. And on page 161 of this book, and I quote, the SS90 two-seater sports appeared in March 1935. Apart from an SS1 special built for William Walmsley, Lyons' partner, in 1934, and possibly one other car, this was the first two-seater. So when we talk about Jaguar history, it's impossible to think about that without the Walmsley Special, and I'm just proud that I helped work on the restoration of that car. And people watching this think we're just a couple of idiots who talk about cars. We have real pedigree. John sold Nissans, and I worked at a restoration shop. Anyway,
I worked for a guy named Gary.
And you worked for a guy named Gary. It is true. You worked for a guy named Gary. But this Roadster, E-Type Roadster, is another one of the cars that I picked for my auction, and I just love 65, 66. I think it's a sweet spot there. 66, especially when we think about, it's got the larger engine, but it still has those analog touches. It has like the toggle switches instead of the rockers. Yeah. So I just think it's a wonderful car. Skipping ahead now in our show, we're going to play a game called, what is it? No, we played that. Is it a sports car? You ready to play? You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to get this all set up. We're going to throw this up on screen. It's called, Is It a Sports Car? You ready to play, John?
I'm ready, man. Let's go.
All right. So you know how this works, right? I'm going to show you a picture in rapid fire. Just take like 2 or 3 seconds to give me your opinion. Is it a sports car? And I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Is it the Tiburon? Is it a sports car?
No. It's front-wheel drive. It is a 4-seater. It is based on another pedestrian Hyundai. It's a sporty car, but
it's a sporty car. I agree.
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
Okay.
How about the original Viper? Sports car?
Yeah, it's a sports car. It's a convertible. It's got a big engine, which is not necessarily sports car, but yeah, this is definitely a sports car, right? No creature comforts from the Neanderthal age. Love it. Sports car.
Absolutely. Thumbs up. WRX. Sports car?
Ooh. Certainly a performance car, no doubt about it, but it's all-wheel drive, and it's a turbo motor, and it's a sedan body. Look, in the modern age, I'm going to call it a sports car because there's such slim pickings that I'm going to call it a sports car. Hot take.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's not a sports car, even though every kid with a flat brim hat swilling Red Bull would be angry with me. Not a sports car, performance car, definitely performance.
Performance car.
This beast,
Ooh, yee. No, it's a muscle car,
no,
but it's
no
not a
sports car,
sports car.
not a sports car. How about this one, Fulvia,
Oh.
Lancia Fulvia,
Sports car.
sports
Even
car.
though it's more of a rally-based car,
Yeah,
I'm still going to say sports car. I love that design. Oh,
Yeah.
God. The older I get, the better that looks. I don't know why.
yeah. And hey, this also had a V4, and it was front wheel drive, and it handled. This was like I think the first front wheel drive car that handled like people you couldn't tell that it was a front wheel drive car.
Okay.
Yeah, Lancia Fulvia,
Ah.
Triumph TR6,
Sports car all day long.
Sports
I know it's
car
got a
all day
six-cylinder, but yeah, total sports car.
Yeah.
Hairy-chested sports car.
XLR.
Now, if this was a picture of a C5, I would say sports car, but it's not.
It's not.
These have not aged well. I don't get any warm and fuzzy from this. I get
It's not.
cold and bald. I don't know. I don't like. Turn it off.
Okay, first gen.
Wow. You know, it's funny when we were having a conversation about talking about sports cars this week. It was on the tip of my tongue several times, and I just sort of let it be because I don't know. I mean, it's a two-seater, and it is sporty for the time, right? But it
Mhm.
came with a V8, and it's got a Continental kit. So, yeah, no. I
You
mean,
said-
for the time, it was a sports car. For the country, it was a sports car, but it's not really a sports car.
Okay, I say no. I say
Okay.
no.
Was it the Spats? Oh man. Oh.
Cabrio.
So when it came out, this would have been as far from a sports car as I could ever imagine. But having owned one of these in this color, and I'm tearing up because I miss it so much. I've owned one in the last 5 years, and
Get to it. Come on.
it felt like a sports car to me. And I know it's not, but it
It's not.
feels that way. It's lightweight, fun to drive, it's front wheel drive, it's all the wrong things. Go ahead.
John, if you believe this is a sports car, you're gonna have to kick your own ass, okay?
I already I'm kicking it for selling it because it's so much fun to drive. I don't even know why. Mine was an automatic 2-liter, 115 horsepower. None of the things. Like the guy in the little box right there, he'll tell you.
GTR.
I mean, here we go, right? We're in the modern era. This is a hard game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's so electronic and it's so. Yeah, it's a sports car. Yeah, it's a sports car. It's got enough pedigree that I'm gonna let it into the sports car club.
I agree, and I was going back and forth on this because it doesn't meet the sniff test for a lot of the criteria for sports car, but the nimbleness of this car, even though it's gargantuan, and even though it does a lot of its handling magic by technology,
Right,
rather than pieces of metal that are formed in the correct fashion, I say it's a sports car.
yeah.
512M.
Well, now
I picked an ugly one.
you did. It is a shame because the original Testarossa, like not the original, but the original of the side slat body style, 1984, brutalist but attractive. And I can't say the same for this. The add-ons did not help.
It's laughable how ugly this is.
It's not a pretty car, but it is a sports car. It's a Ferrari. It's 2 seats. It's what else would it be? It's not a Grand Tourer. Like you don't want to spend a lot of time in it.
No. I call this a Grand Tourer.
Okay.
I don't think you'd feel comfortable hustling this thing around tight roads. I don't think you would. I don't think you're obviously not comfortable in a parking garage with this thing. I think you're comfortable on the open road. And you say you wouldn't want to spend time in this. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
I certainly don't want to spend time outside of it looking at it. So
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. We went from the 512 to a 550. Is this a sports car or is this a Grand Tourer?
let me just say, I think these are beautiful. I like them, and they
Me
might
too.
be a little sterile, but that doesn't bother me at all. I think it's restrained, not sterile. It's more of a grand tourer. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, this is where I'd like to spend my time. That interior is so much nicer than the 512, but in my opinion, um, it's not a sports car though. It's a grand tourer. It's a GT
Same.
car.
I agree. I just want to go back to this for a second, and I'm going to give you a choice of um, four items, and I want you to tell me which was the worst decision: the wheels,
Wheels
the
are bad.
headlights, the NACA ducts, or the headlight, the grill opening in combination with the headlights.
The NACA duct is the least of my concerns here. The wheels are super offensive. The headlights are shared with the Maserati something. It probably isn't, but it feels like it. I think the incongruent grill is probably the most. Let's put an oval grill in a rectangular place. What do you think that's a good idea? Hey, I think that's a great idea. Like, no, so bad,
Yeah, I don't know.
so offensive.
This seems like the
Not
car.
only my my accent as well as that grill, they're both super offensive.
Yeah.
Just not great.
Collectively, this looks like it was done on a design team's last week of work. Like, all right, fuck it. This is it. We're giving up. Here it is.
Yeah, so bad.
Okay. We went 512, 550. How about 560?
I mean, it's not a sports car. It's too heavy, too big for the time frame, right? The time period. This was always a big, fat, heavy car. We talked about the Pagoda roof after the 190, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the car that came after the Pagoda roof. It's the R107. Um, as an aside, or as a quick note, chrome fender flares make me angry, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
angry right now. So angry at that. But take that out of the equation for a second; they can come off. This isn't. They handle like a big-bodied Mercedes. They don't handle like a sports car. So it's a Grand Tour, and it's fine for what it is, but it's not a sports car.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask you because I've seen so many of these cars with the chrome um, arch flares.
Yeah.
Excuse me, art. Do they come for free in the trunk when you buy these cars, and you just have to put them on?
No, they were just super popular. They're add-ons, and
Oh, so
they
awful.
weren't just limited to the R107s. Like back in the day, all German cars, like this was in vogue for a while, and I can't understand it. Like, why that doesn't look good. But
No.
in my opinion, maybe somebody loved it. Yeah.
Sports car?
Ew. Oh God. I mean, I I what am I looking? I mean, I know what I'm looking at, but like, no, it's definitely not a sports car. But the Marlboro livery is almost as
Yeah.
offensive as the T-tops and the fact that it's a pickup truck.
Yeah. Well, this was, I think there were a handful of these, right? Cyclones that were got um, the Marlboro package, the big
Yeah,
red pack of reds over here.
the wheels are bad.
Yeah.
Yuck. Okay. Anything else? Of course, it's a Morgan.
Wait, let's get your daughter in the room. How many
I
people
know.
could fit in this car?
I know. It's a Morgan plus 4, so it's 4 seats. It still has the Ashwood frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by definition, it's not a sports car, but it's definitely a sports car. So as time marches on, we kind of lose or we dilute what we consider to be the rules.
Yeah.
And compared to anything modern, of course, this is a sports car, but yeah, technically 4 seats.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, I think it's kind of an ugly car. I want you to look at the back of this though. Keep that in your mind for 1 second, and we're going
Okay.
to look at this. This car was from the 30s. Oops. Um, this was from the 60s, I believe. Which car looks more sporty?
Oh, no doubt. In fairness, these were contemporaries. The Morgan and the Walmsley,
Walmsley.
Walmsley
How
were,
were they contemporaries? This was built in the 30s. This.
yeah, it started in 1934, I believe.
Oh,
I'm going to
well.
have to fact check myself, but 30s, definitely 30s. And it went all the way through into the 90s, 2000s. Do they still make the,
I think they do.
I mean,
I think they still. Sorry for yawning at your boring commentary.
well, is it that I didn't agree with the, it's still about the Maserati, isn't it?
It is. It is. But yeah, so but this to me, I've never liked the look of these cars, whereas this I always thought was a gorgeous car.
It's a stunner. There's no doubt about it. And the sweeping fenders and the repeating of the front fender and the back fender, right? I like symmetry. I enjoy the things that I like about car design is that it makes sense. This car makes sense. And when you press me on that, I can't exactly tell you why it makes sense, but I think it's the way that the front and the back sort of, it looks like the same guy that designed the front designed the back.
Mhm.
And I like that.
That's always a plus. All right, let's see what we have. If we have anything left here, sports car.
Oh, 510.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't follow any of the rules. It's a sedan. It's a Japanese, which in the contemporary, like when we were younger, fine. If you like Japanese cars, that's great. But you weren't a true enthusiast because they're Japanese cars and they're too reliable. And why would you?
Right.
But yeah, of course, that's a sports car. It's a sports sedan, but yeah, it's a sports car to me.
I agree.
I don't know. I love it.
I agree.
think that thing's
100%.
awesome.
This is a sports car. 100%. I love these. I love these things. I think that might be it. Oh,
Oh, a tiger.
Tiger.
Put a tiger in your tank. You thought I was going to do a Get Smart reference, but I did not.
I thought you were.
Yeah, I mean, it's a V8, right? The Sunbeam Alpine would have been a definite sports car.
Well,
This with the
V8. Hold that thought,
Oh,
John, because we we'll debate something in that realm in a second. But yeah, keep going.
Okay, so even though it's got a V8, of course I'm going to consider it a sports car. Those Eagle STs are bringing back memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sports car.
I am going to disagree with you here because having driven one of these in the past, I did not get sports car vibe. I got like muscle car vibe, and I don't know if it had a limited slip differential, but going around corners and punching it was oversteer versus like understeer is okay, but oversteer, this thing had more power than I think the chassis enjoyed. It could just be the example I was driving, but I don't call it. I don't know.
They put a big engine in a small British car, and
Mhm.
that's likely to happen when you do that.
Who else did that?
There's a little company starts with an A, ends with a C.
Yeah. Is this a sports car?
I mean, yeah, but no, but yeah. I don't know. Is it a muscle car? It's not a muscle car either. Like you're not showing up to the Burger King parking lot in 1990 in this with all the other muscle cars.
Yeah. The thing
What do
is,
you
for
think?
me, it doesn't have finesse, whereas this has finesse.
Definitely has finesse.
Yeah.
You can also see where we started and where we ended, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I like them both, to be fair. But I like the first one. But I mean, I like the second one. I like that one better.
Yeah. Yeah. A good friend, car collector who passed away a few years ago, had a wonderful collection of cars, but he had a Shelby Cobra, but he had the 289, and I thought that was it was just a gorgeous car, and he always parked it next to he had a Ferrari 330, so it was like a Ford versus Ferrari in his garage. He always thought that was clever. Yeah, 289 all day long. If,
Yeah,
if you're
agreed.
buying a Cobra, I think that's it. Boom.
Okay.
What's left to talk about sports car wise? Oh, we were going to each make a prediction about a sports car that we thought might increase in value. We were going to pick one. Did you pick one?
I mean, yeah, I can always pick one.
Okay.
Let's do yours first. You tell me yours, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay. I'll do that. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hold on to your hat.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so 72 Dino. I consider this a sports car. The engine is in the middle. I know that violates one of our rules of sports car. I think it's a gorgeous car. I think its emphasis is on handling versus power, although it was quick. It was an angry little car. And I call this a sports car because, like we said, cars exist in context of their time, the company who made them, and people and stuff like that. So Ferrari makes this thing, doesn't claim ownership of it. They put the Dino badge on it. That's fine. I don't. That doesn't detract anything. But I think what Ferrari was saying was we have very powerful cars that are for a certain mentality. Remember, this was sold at the time. The other things you could buy from the Ferrari dealership were a Daytona, 365 GTB4, GTC4, I should say. You could also buy that 365, like the 4-seat car. I think this was their sports car in the early 70s. The Daytona, I think, is a Grand Tourer, a badass Grand Tourer. It's borderline. It's more sports car than Grand Tourer. I take that back. But I think this was more sports car than even the Daytona.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just interested in terms of its current value and where you see it going.
All right. Car values are irrational.
Yeah.
I think this actually had a color change. I think this one might have been red originally. But these were, in the past 20 years, not inexpensive. I mean, if we go back 20 years from now, I bet they were like right around $200,000. So they were expensive cars then. They're around 350 to 400 now. Maybe, I think I've even seen some in the fives.
I think possible, certainly.
I don't see these stopping. I don't see the value of these like going anywhere but further up, and I think it's irrational. I think these are good cars, but I don't think they're the best car. I would certainly give one of my nuts, or maybe both nuts for this car. I love that it's a T-top, or excuse me, target top. Oh, what did I just say? But
they used to send them to ASC to have the top. No, they did not. American Sunroof Corporation.
Yeah.
They did not do that.
They didn't do that. Only Ford did that.
Do you think it's going to be $1 million car?
Yeah, I think soon. I think they're certainly going to be $750,000 in 3 years.
Okay.
I just see these cars as having gotten the nod. And so by that, I mean, there's certain cars, like you said, why does the 300ZX not command massive money when the Supra of the same generation does? It's because the Supra got the nod. And so like now we all believe that the Supra is the better car, the more desirable car. And they are wonderful cars. I'm not trying to detract from it. I'm just talking about perception.
Right.
We perceive right now, collectors perceive right now that these are cars to have. And I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. So I still think this is a good bet. It's probably not the same bet as it was 10 years ago, but I don't know.
Okay.
Do you have one that you want me to pull up on the old TV screen here?
I mean, not to recycle what we've already been through, but you mentioned the Z32 300ZX, and that's my pick. Only because it is such a and look, we've already
Oh,
established.
look at this article from 2 years ago. Why the Z32 Nissan 300ZX twin turbo is about to skyrocket in value. Want to see what people said?
Sure, but also it didn't come true.
Well,
And it's worth noting, I have a collection of articles that say the same thing about the Porsche 944. They have also not skyrocketed in value. They haven't even taken a leisurely drive towards more value.
do you think, John Marcus?
Yeah.
Do you think this has something to do with the parent company, Nissan, where we don't respect Nissan now the way we used to? Now you think of Nissan as some dude in an Altima who cut you off. I mean, like, Nissan isn't what it was, right?
That's fair. I think that the GTR still commands a lot of respect, but maybe not as much as it once did. I think that when I think about Nissan, I think about a man in a piano case fleeing Japan.
What? I don't understand. Does that mean something?
Carlos goes and
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Okay.
So I see a guy in a piano case with a bunch of crackers and like Spam, just waiting to get to his destination, escaping Japan. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that when they think Nissan, but yeah, I don't think that's why that generation of 300ZX isn't better respected. I don't really know. Like, I have no idea why they haven't increased in value. You see everything from the 80s and 90s, right? This is its time.
Yeah.
And the nostalgia is there. And plenty of kids our age wanted Nissan 300ZXs. They were cool cars. And nobody seems to want one now. I mean, within reason, but nobody seems to want it. And I've driven a million of them. They're great. So I don't get it, but I think I've talked myself into buying one. Like, I think I should get one because
John, there's so many
usable, they're
cars.
great.
There's so many cars. I'm sorry you got your commentary again. But if we had a big garage and a big pile of money, we could go make such a great collection of cars.
Oh, I totally agree.
Subscribe to our channel and send $1.
To Happy Dude. Send $1 to Happy Dudes.
Yeah.
So, how'd we do? Did we define sports cars this week?
I think we did. I think we challenged each other a tiny bit. You challenged me a little bit on my my two picks. The which one was it? The obviously
Maserati, the Grand Tour.
The Maserati, and what was the other one? The that was yours. I'm sorry, and the 190 SL.
The 190, yeah, I mean, fair. And, by definition, though, the 190 fits the bill. So, I don't know. I guess if I was to have this conversation again, or if we were to explore this, I think you also have to split it between time frame, right? From 1965 on and 1965 before, or 70, whatever the time is. Because I'm still not sure I understand what a modern sports car is. And it's
not an M3. It's not an M3.
It's not an M3. Is it an M2?
Maybe. Yeah.
But that's is it a manual transmission? No, because no.
No, you can get a manual and an M2. We're not going to debate that. But yes, right. I understand what you're saying. The definition changes as we move through time.
Plenty of sports cars or performance vehicles that don't offer traditional sports car things. And